I am your host, and we have a guest for today in our program, Education in the Community. I am Reverend Robert.R.L.McKnight, and my guest is also Robert.R.L.McKnight II. He's come out from Phoenix, Arizona, so that we can do this show. Welcome to the show, Robert.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
I hope that you had a pleasant trip.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I hope that your stay has been well.
Oh, been great.
We had such a lively show the last time until the producer, Mr. Broussard, for the last couple of years, been asking me, when are you coming back?
Well, I'm here now.
So you are here today, and I was thinking, because so much has transpired since we were last on set. Observation, not being critical, condemnatory, or judgmental, but observation. It appears, and it cuts across all cultural lines, that so many today, since the pandemic, and maybe prior to that, but definitely since we were last on set together, appear to be stuck in a rut. And that appears to be our problem in terms of politics, education, church, economics in terms of the community, institutionally and individually, that people appear to be stuck in a rut. Matter of fact, I heard someone say, rather than getting out, it appears as though much of our humanity is sinking deeper and deeper. That if you're not moving forward, you're going backward.
Right.
That if you're not going up, you're going down. And again, observation, not being critical, but as we look at society, I don't like the term homeless. I use dispossessed person. And that group appears to be growing throughout the country. What would you say is perhaps one of the causes, one of the reasons why we see this large, vast amount of humanity stuck in a rut? And I heard one psychologist say that rut is another name for grave. Let me hear your observation.
For me, a lot of it, how I feel, how that's going as an observation, is burnout. You know, going through those 5 stages of burnout: physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, and also personal. You know, and also work related. You know, you get stuck in a rut by doing the same thing over and over again. And since the pandemic, that put everybody in a rut. We were all stuck doing the same thing over and over again at home. And so trying to assimilate back into what you can call a normal society or a normal living way to live your life, you get stuck in that rut. You get stuck in that same mode of, okay, I've been at home, I'm going to stay at home, I don't want to go anywhere, I don't want to do anything. And that's draining. It took the life out of you. You know, it takes the life out of you being stuck in that rut when you are trying to do something for yourself, but you can't. You know, it's frustrating. That's part of that emotional burnout, is when you want to do something for yourself and you can't. You just don't have the energy to do anything else because we had everything that we did taken from us. So we don't have anything to really strive for anymore, nothing to really work for anymore. We're just going through the motions. We're just trying to make it through the day, you know, so we can get to the evening and go to sleep and do it all over again the next day.
Now, it's a terrible thing. I heard your comment when you said we get to the place where we can't do, we think, and perhaps we feel that we can't do anything for ourselves. Good explanation, good observation. Because if you feel you can't do anything for yourself, who do you suppose is going to do something for you?
Right, right.
We have to become self-motivated and develop a sense of unshakable determination.
Right, right.
And begin to some way feel ourselves spiritually and psychologically with this overwhelming sense of inspiration that will fuel a greater feeling and sense of aspiration that we aspire to get out of the rut.
Right.
There must be a process, or if not, perhaps humanity is in a state of self-annihilation.
Amen. I hear that. And generally, that's where it all starts, is with yourself. It all begins and ends with you. You know, if you don't get up and do anything for yourself, like you said, who is going to do something for you? You can't take care of others if you're not taking care of yourself. And that's where I understand where you're saying we begin to self-annihilate. You know, we are the most destructive force on this planet, especially to ourselves. And so it's hard to be constructive after you've been deconstructed and broken down to a base level of living, almost to where the only thing you can do is just basically live. There's nothing complex about who we are anymore. We just become stuck in that rut to live life as simply as possible, not to make it any more difficult, but what is interesting to us now? What really holds our attention? Why this is, you know, what really puts you in a position to where you're always walking with your head down, you're always thinking about something. The way we get in a rut is generally just by overthinking. You know, we think about things that will never manifest or shouldn't manifest, and we kind of manifest it into our world by thinking about it, dwelling on it, not understanding that that is the beginning of our self-annihilation, is our thoughts. If we're not thinking positive, if we're not thinking constructive, if we're not acting on those thoughts, but we're not gonna be able to make it. We have to be able to do something constructive for ourselves, and it has to be all for ourselves. Because if you're burned out by constantly doing things for others, what are you doing for yourself besides burning yourself out? And you'll be physically run down, emotionally drained. You won't have any inspiration. You won't have anything constructive to do for yourself. You know, even if it is just reading, or if it's just going for a walk, or if it's getting up and doing some exercises first thing in the morning, breaking the mold that you have molded yourself into. Change yourself, rebuild yourself. You can always be a work of art, a work in progress, and still be a masterpiece. You know, as long as you continue to build yourself up, you'll never be broken down. Because that's what you're doing for yourself. You know, if you're not doing that for yourself and you're expecting others to do it, that will leave you feeling emotionally put out. You'll have a false sense of entitlement, you know, to where you think, oh, I'm entitled to do this because I do this for others. But you have to do it for yourself to show the others how you want something done for yourself. That's generally why we ask for help. It's because we're stuck in a rut. You want to have someone assist us, someone to be there for us, to uplift us, to help us get out of it, but not necessarily bring them down to our level.
Wow.
You know, but if we can get to a level to where we're not competing, but we're consistently elevating and helping each other, that will help stop that process of self-annihilation.
And you said that, you know, not to bring the person down that's trying to assist you. I was listening, and I thought at first that this is cruel, but that if you see someone drowning in deep water, maybe in the ocean or in a river or something, where you cannot put your feet on the bottom, unless you are, it was suggested that unless you are a master swimmer, you have mastered the art of swimming, that it may be very painful, but you are going to have to allow that person
Yeah.
to struggle and maybe make it to shore on their own. You can encourage them from the shore. You can make it, do this or that. But if you rush out to save them in their struggle, their panic, they will take you
down.
under.
Now both of y'all need help.
So, both of you, there are two people now that are drowning.
Right, right.
If you are not a good enough swimmer, and you know how to hold them and bring them in the same time talking to calm them down, that your efforts to help them, in your efforts to help them, they will unintentionally destroy you.
Absolutely, absolutely, because there's a difference between trying to help someone and getting in there with them. You know, if two people who are in the same situation who both need help, they probably don't need to be helping each other. You know, they might need to seek some outside source of help. Because, you know, two people who are in trouble, it's two people that's in trouble. You know, you're going to be in trouble together, which is not necessarily bad, but you don't ever want to bring someone down when you're trying to pick yourself up as well, or you break someone and you hurt them in their attempts, like you said, in trying to help you with all that commotion that's going on inside of you spiritually. That will manifest itself.
Yeah.
That will come out. It'll get into anything and everything that you touch, look at, or even breathe. Everything that is emotionally discombobulated inside of you, that can and will destroy you physically and everyone who's trying to help you mentally. That is a very, very dangerous tool to wield or to even have or to even know that you can have it. That's why they say, you know, the mind is a dangerous place. It's one of the most powerful weapons on the world is the human mind. It can create and it can destroy just as easily. It's just how you focus your attention on what you want to create or what you want to destroy. So it takes a lot of effort. And generally, a lot of people don't want to put in that kind of effort. That's why it gets stuck in that rut. No effort being put forth to do anything different, to create something. It's very easy to let something just fall by the wayside and destroy it. But it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of creativity to create something and keep it and maintain it and keep it in good standing. Just like your car, if you don't get your oil changed in your car, your car is going to break down. So you have to maintain it, you have to take care of it. And that's the same thing with the human mind. You have to maintain it, you have to take care of it. You have to exercise it properly in order for you not to destroy yourself effectively.
I like that. You have touched upon so many different things. I wish that I was taking some written notes. But if you're not strong emotionally, if you are not exercising some control over your consciousness, your mind, if you don't have a positive self-image of yourself and trying to help someone else that are struggling in these three areas, I hear you saying you run the risk of it breaking you, pulling you under, in the analogy we use with swimming, pulling you under because you are not strong enough yourself. You said that, in essence, we are creators. And being a creator, you create the life. I don't want to misunderstand and interpret what you said, but you create your own life through the power of your mind.
Yes.
That you actually have the power to shape and form in your mind this outer expression of who you are.
Yeah. And if you're feeling tumultuous on the inside, it's going to show on the outside, and people are going to know, oh, he's stuck in a rut. because it's eating you up inside, but you may not have anyone to turn to, or if you do have someone to turn to, it may not be the best person to turn to, so that's just going to eat you up inside. And it's gonna give off that energy. People are gonna feel that around you. People may not want to be around you. People may want to be around you to help you, but you may not even be willing or accepting of their help because you don't know how to help yourself to begin with. Just like you said, get in that water and you're drowning. You're not gonna get in that water if you don't know how to swim, but you can get stuck out in that water and you will learn how to swim.
Yeah, if you're strong enough.
If you're strong enough. Yeah. Calm enough, and relax your mind, but understanding that what we create or what we destroy, we also create, and vice versa, because it works both ways. It's a two-edged sword. It cuts you coming and going, no matter what it is. And for every beam of light, there is a shadow.
Wow.
So, you have to kind of understand both sides of it, because, you can never be too positive, but you can be too positive to where you're blinding yourself from the absolute truth of understanding what you're being positive about. It's sunny outside. It looks good outside, but tell that to the person that can't go outside.
Now, getting back to where we started, and this, you've been repeating it over and over again, and I'm glad because hopefully that will stick with our audience. Know also that we should know, and having so much time teaching about male-female relationships and in the reading and research and observation, people who have been in a relationship for a long time, they come to, number one, even physically look alike. People who have been married, I know a couple of couples, very few today. I know one that's been married right at 70 years, and they look alike.
Yeah, sound alike.
You would think that they are brothers and sisters. And not only do you come to look alike, but you come to think alike.
Right.
You reflect each other's way of talking, likes and dislikes. You actually, in the marriage of ours, you become one.
Right.
Because you're in this relationship. Now, the same thing applies to friendships, especially today. It's really an alternative family. The games that they call them. But do you know they use this same vernacular, the same language? They talk alike.
Walk alike.
They walk alike. They dress alike. They wear their hair alike.
Yep.
And it's not, they don't get together and say, well, let's do this just like each other. But because they have been together for so long, they identify. And it should be impossible to get 5 people to do something that is so negative, and you know what the consequences are going to be.
Right.
And please excuse this negative example. I'll try to clean this up. But to get 5 individuals to say, let's snatch this lady's purse. And you know her because she lives in your community. She's also have reached the point of life to where she could be your grandmother or your great-grandmother. You all have seen her, and not one say, oh man, no, we can't do that. That's X.
Right.
But they agree. And knowing that, you're not going to get over $25.
Right.
And you divide that 5 ways, That's $5 a piece. Oh no, man, I'm not going to risk my freedom in life.
Right.
That doesn't enter into the discussion, because now they have formed a collective consciousness. And my question is, could this possibly be one of the reasons why we see so much blight in terms of the human condition that I call dispossessed persons? They have no place to stay, and rather than waking up saying, this is the last night I'm going to be outside. I was passing by X Place, Home Depot, Jack in the Box, and I saw this sign that said, help wanted. I'm going to get me a job. I'm going to improve my condition. I'm not going to spend another night here. I'm not going to become angry at everyone that drives by, everyone that walks by. I'm going to improve my condition. I love you, fellas. I really love you.
Yes.
But I can't help you if I'm just like you.
Right. Right.
We're going to self-destruct if we don't break out of this. And I'm not leaving you because I don't like you. I'm leaving you because I want to reach back and pull you up.
I'm about to become a master swimmer, so just in case you're drowning, I can help you get to shore.
No, that's right. I'm going to become a master swimmer. Because if everyone gets up, and you said it earlier, and do the same thing, sit around, you have any spare change, expect someone to bring them something, they'll never get out of that rut.
Never, never, ever. Just not in a harsh way, but as this lady was standing outside of this supermarket in Arizona, and they have this huge sign, now hiring, and she was asking for money for her family and kids. And I'm like, if you have time to be out here asking for money, they are hiring. You know, and I was like, I can't give you any money because that's not going to help you. All that's going to do is perpetuate for you to make it feel that that's the only thing you can do. I said, if your children are not out here with you, and they don't need to be, especially in this heat, but if you have accommodations for somebody to watch your children while you're out here asking for money, you can have those same accommodations to go make some money. You know, I was like, not saying that you're being lazy or being harsh, but I had to tell her, I was like, honey, this is not an example you want to set for your children to see. You want your children to know that you are a strong, capable woman, and you're not being reliant. You know, and I wasn't asking her, you know, where's your husband or anything. No, we had a genuine conversation about 5 minutes. And I hope that it actually, you know, not got through to her, but that she heard something that I said in reference to her children. I said, you don't want your daughters setting this example for your children, thinking this is the only way out, knowing that you have skills and capabilities that you can put to use.
We have a couple of more minutes. I want to make reference to Scripture. These two itinerant preachers, and they were going into worship service. And it says there was a gentleman out there begging for alms, asking for spare change. And one of them turned to him and said, silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I unto you. Rise up and walk. They had been bringing that man there because he couldn't walk for years. And when they told him to rise up and walk, that man got up and went about his way leaping and running. No one had told him, you know, you can really walk. And you run a risk. You know, today you can't tell a person, why don't you go and get a job? Because they would take it out on you. And I wonder, is there a way we can get a message out to people that you don't have to be where you are without becoming a direct affront to them.
Right. Or looking judgmental, like you're looking down on them.
Yeah.
And that's generally why I don't really say anything to anybody, in terms of, like I'm preaching to them or I'm trying to, look down on them or I'm better than them. So I generally don't. But that day, I don't know what made me stop and talk to her and tell her, this is not an example. You just take up your bed and walk. You can do something for yourself. You'll feel a lot better if you were doing something for yourself versus expecting somebody to do something for you. You'll be a lot more productive in life. And this is the message, that we understand without it being an affront. And that's why it's so easy for us to talk about it and communicate. Even when we do get stuck in a rut, we know better in order to do better. And so when we stop doing better, we don't know. When we stop knowing better, we stop doing better.
Yes.
Yes. And so we are constantly evolving. We're constantly learning. We're constantly growing. We're always moving forward. We're not trying to go backwards. We're not trying to deviate. We're not trying to go to the right. We're not trying to go to the left. Straightforward and focused. Broaden. It's looking at the horizon, but always moving forward towards the sun.
I love that. I know that we're approaching the end of this hour, but so many things came up, like rise up and walk, and there was another instance. This man was wild and demented. I want you to remember that in case we get to do another show. And no one was able to help him. And that's a biblical parable as well. But we have to take what we have and share it. It says to let your light shine. Because Jesus was the light of the world, but he says you are also a light. And we have to, throughout our day, rather than walking in a state of gloom and doom, to let our light shine so that it might inspire others and they may be lifted up and encouraged to do something different. If it's no more than put on a smile, that doesn't take that much effort. And in smiling, you begin to change and smile on the inside.
Amen to that.
Yes. Now, this is Reverend McKnight thanking you for joining us on another episode of Education in the Community. And thank you for coming all the way to join us. And we will see you again.